Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm Dr. Arnold Nerenberg. I've been a clinical psychologist for over 47 years. I've walked upon this earth for over 80 years. So it's my privilege and my pleasure to be in your presence and to present to you the insights and experiences and inspirations of a lifetime with the intention of uplifting you and your loved ones for the rest of your lives, not just during this period. That's my intention. The title of today's presentation is Honor and Politics. Honor and Politics. Now, some people, when I tell them that title, they think it's an oxymoron. They think honor and politics don't go together. But they do, they can, and they will, and they do. Now, this is not going to be a political talk. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm not going to get into the issues of, about immigration or abortion or any of that. I'm not going into issues. I'm not going to talk about libertarians, Democrats, Republicans, and none of that. So it's basically an apolitical talk, basically, of how to bring more honor into politics. Now, firstly, we have to look at the people that become politicians. Many of them come from the profession of law. Many study political science. Very bright people, for the most part, very bright. And when I've asked people, well, what percentage do you think get into politics because they want to do good in the world? Well, we've had estimates as low as 10%, as high as 90%. It's all guesswork. My guess is 70%, but it's just guesses. Now, once people are in office, things start changing. The power, the money, the whole structure. Then the goal mostly becomes, the goal of politicians once in office is to stay in power. So it starts shifting. It starts off, I want to do good. I want to serve the people. And they see the potential and they come in with a lot of energy. And then they run into what the system is. And many people have to then compromise themselves one way or another. Well, we're seeing at this time, in the year 2021, very divided America between the parties. A lack of civility, actually, and a difficulty talking across the aisle. It's just that way at this time. But we have to look at the politicians and say they have to do so much to enter, to get elected. I mean, the campaign is very tiresome, exhausting. The fundraising, the speeches, the travel. And then you may not win. I mean, if you have a lot of candidates running in the primaries, you may have 15 people running. And then if you win the primaries, then you got to run against, you then have to go into the elections. And then in the election, we have two candidates, maybe three if there's a libertarian. Half the people don't get elected. So you got half the people who put all that energy and time, got all that investment in it, don't get into office. So it takes a lot of determination. We have to appreciate the process of what it takes to get into office. And now we're talking about people who are starting out with, and many of them have an intention of doing some good. And listen, once you're in there, you may be elected 1 term, 2 terms, and then you're out of a job. Look at that. You get in, you're in Congress, you're in a senator, you're the president, and you're going to be out of a job within a few years, or 4 years, or maybe 8 years if you're president. Then they go on from there. So it's not what you call job stability. Then, of course, you can always get impeached, and there's always investigations going on. And if people have done something in high school or college and it comes out, then there's all kinds of scandals. So there's a lot of public scrutiny, and people sacrifice their private lives, or the scrutiny. The paparazzi's always taking their photographs, and they're always in the limelight. So there's a lot of sacrifice that people who to serve us and as politicians making great sacrifices. And then many have to have Secret Service and bodyguards. I mean, how many of our politicians have been shot in assassination attempts? Not to mention, JFK, who was assassinated, killed, and another one was killed at one point a long time ago, and Lincoln was assassinated. You have many who were shot. I mean, they were shot in the head. I remember one group was playing baseball, and somebody shot some of them. Wonderful person from was one of our elected officials was in a grocery store. She got shot in the head. I mean, and then let's say you're in a high office like a presidency, you have to have Secret Service with you even after you retire from the job. Your children are always under scrutiny. It's always at risk. So the higher you go, the danger gets higher. It grows. So these people are risking their lives. They're going to be facing unemployment. It takes a lot of dedication to be doing what they do, and we need to respect that. We may not agree with the political positions. Many may have become corrupted, beholding to lobbyists and to people who make big donations. But deep down, they all want to do some good, even the ones who've been in it for a while. But then they find out the reality of what the system is, so they can't do as much good as perhaps they want to do. But they start off with that intention, many of them, and I believe that always stays with them, but they're not always able to manifest that goodness. Now, I'm going to address one particular issue right now, the lack of civility. The lack of civility. So what I'm going to focus on is respect. Respect. By the way, I should mention, ironically, that the title of today is Honor in Politics, and we call Congressman the Honorable Congressperson J. Smith, or the Honorable Senator Ronald Jones, whatever, but the word honorable is used. And yet most of us don't really think of honor as part of it. But right now, I want to talk about respect. Respect is one ray from the sun of honor. So you have honor, which is like the sun, and it has different rays, like integrity, dignity, respect. And respect is an important ray off of the sun of honor. So we're going to talk about today respect. And when you're looking at respect, there's a lot of disrespect between the parties. People, even in the campaign trail, even in the primaries, people are saying, really negative things about each other. In fact, there are whole ad campaigns where millions, maybe millions of dollars spent on ad campaigns to just tear down the other person, tear that person down. And to just a point where you have people on one side of the aisle actually thinking the other side is evil, and it's just being projected. It's very hard to talk. So what I'm focused on today is how to bridge that divide. I'm going to give a very simple psychological formula for doing it. And we're going to talk about the law of respect. The law of respect is very simple. The law of respect is this: extreme respect always. Extreme respect always. Every human being wants to receive respect. It feels good to get that respect. What a lot of people don't know, it feels really good to give that respect. Certainly no politician is going to lose anything by respecting his colleagues from either side of the aisle. The same point of view, the different point of view. Right now, there's a severe lack of respect for people with a different point of view. So it's certainly possible to disagree vehemently with the other party's thought, with another politician's, another elected official's thought, vehemently. But it's still, the conversation needs to go in a respectful manner. And that's my intention, to bring a very simple psychological tool to achieve that, with the hope that perhaps this will be adopted in our whole political system. So it really involves, when people take office, of taking the pledge of respect. Pledge of respect. The pledge of respect goes this way. They all raise their right hand and they repeat this: I pledge myself all the days of my life to the law of respect, and will apply it to those who have the same opinion and to those who have a different opinion. I'll repeat it every morning, afternoon, and evening. So you're going to apply it to those of the same opinion and to those of a different opinion. You don't have to respect you may have a totally different idea about what the agenda is, what the right law is to pass or whatever, but to respect the person when we're speaking to each other. So that law of respect, and then they're going to repeat it every morning, afternoon, evening. So every morning, afternoon, evening, everybody will say to themselves, extreme respect always. Now, naturally, it's going to carry over to their family life and their personal lives. But that's a reminder. Now, if somebody has just a modicum of good faith in taking that pledge, just a little bit of good faith, that can make a huge difference. Now, if somebody just takes the pledge with no intention of doing it, well, that pledge was wasted on that person. But at least we established this is a healthy intention as a nation to have that respect. And that will also, of course, as we respect one another more, we'll have more respect from the world as well. And the politicians themselves will rise up in respect. We'll be brought into esteem, because right now, I mean, people say the most vile, horrible things about politicians, about the president, the vice president, any position. People say these things, but if they see them conducting themselves in a dignified manner, and dignity is very dependent on showing respect to people of your same party and of the other party. What harm could there be in that? What harm? So if we could introduce the pledge of respect, or the law of respect, which is 3 words, 3 times a day. Extreme respect always. What harm? It can't harm. It can't make it worse. And in my professional opinion, having been a psychologist for over 47 years in the state of California, but having been in the profession for over 50 years, and being 80 years of age, it's my professional and personal opinion that this would help heal the divide and make America greater than it's been in a long time. Greater than it's been in a long time. So that's honor in politics, bringing respect into the political arena with more civil discourse. Now, Lee, what are your thoughts about the presentation?
In its face, it's wonderful. But there are 2 things that have brought societies down from day one, and that's greed and pride. And in order to respect somebody, you have to, those can't enter the picture.
Well, let's put it this way. The way of honor is far more. There's becoming disciples of honor. There's a pledge to be a disciple of honor, and the bridge. It's a much larger system. But in my opinion, in my professional opinion, this in itself, this isn't going to cure people of their pride. It may not even cure them of corruption. Those are all big things and certainly need to be addressed. Right now, it's a very modest goal of talking to each other with respect, with what pride you have, whatever greed we have, whatever corruption we have. It can still be talked with respect. That's the point here.
Honor changes your whole being, and it will change the politician if he sacrifices himself to the program.
Well, the program to begin with is just getting extreme respect always 3 times a day. That's it. So I'm not saying they're going to become totally honorable people. I'm not saying that they're going to put honor before pride. I'm not saying they put honor before life. I'm not saying that they won't keep blaming. Right now, it's a very modest goal, very modest, of talking to each other with respect. And conversely, not to talk to each other with disrespect. I want to start with a very simple, doable program. If that's adopted, there's a far more evolved system for getting honor brought in at a more profound level. Right now, I'm just bringing to get a more civil discourse between our elected officials. That's it.
That would do. Yep.
And extreme respect always would do it in terms of that. And it's a very simple pledge, and it revolves for the rest of their lives going extreme respect always. Again, it's not going to cure the corruption. It's not going to cure the pride. It's not going to cure the greed. It's just going to get some. But that's a very good point you're bringing up. Thank you. It's just to get some civil discourse. That's the full intention. Roberto, what are your thoughts?
Definitely, my thoughts are keep it simple, extreme respect always. If the politics start doing that, the world would be better. Because I tell you something, I apply that to my life, to my family, to my friends. Whatever I go outside, definitely extreme respect always works.
And
it makes you a bigger human being.
You know, it has an effect. And if you know that everybody in your party took that pledge, and the person, everybody in the other party took that pledge, so you've got grounds for possible movement. I'm not saying it'll work. I'm saying it's got a very good chance of working. Certainly if people take the pledge and they have a minimum amount of good faith, good things definitely will happen. Jay, what are your thoughts?
Well, Doc, I think that just because you honor and respect somebody doesn't mean you have to agree with them every time.
Exactly.
If they would just apply, if they would just apply extreme respect always, then you can discuss things. Like you said right now, they don't respect each other. The parties just don't respect each other. So in our political system right now, there isn't any honor.
Well, without respect, there's no honor. Without respect, there can be no honor. Now, if you have respect, doesn't mean they're totally honorable, but it's a step in the right direction. Exactly. They don't have to disagree. That's why they say they'll apply it to people of the same opinion, and more importantly, to somebody of a different opinion. And that's what we need. Alicia, what are your thoughts?
Sorry, I was muted.
That's all right. Alicia, what are your thoughts?
So I think that it all comes down to respect politicians, non-politicians, and it's just goes hand in hand with this movement, the honor movement. There can't be any honor without any respect and vice versa.
Well, that's it. The respect is one dimension of the honor movement, which I'm not going to go into right now because I want to get something very adaptable to what could actually be implemented today if the right people decide to do so. Well, it's been my pleasure and my privilege to present to you honor and politics. Thank you for this opportunity to visit with you.